So look, when you get out of the military, right? Like I know you said you started doing like the underwater welding shit, bro. Like now that shit is tough. I wanted to do that shit. I seen the little drink come up about it in Baltimore one time, and I was thinking about doing that shit. Underwater welding.
Yeah.
So crazy. It's called an aquanaut, right?
Yeah. So that's would be like the scientific term. I would say aquanaut. Commercial diving, underwater welding, essentially any type of waterborne infrastructure. Like we're talking bridges, boats, if you want a subway tunnel to get built, you're going to need underwater welders. You're going to need like basically the thing that really attracted me to it was astronauts need to become like aquanauts to have like a certain handyman level of proficiency underwater in order to go underwater to go out of space.
They make them get in the suits and go under the water and do shit before they can
exactly.
And
I
realized that shit.
You know, there was this aspect of critical thinking, like being in a surgery room. Because originally I thought about like I got on the military, like do I want to go to med school, do like neurosurgery? You know what I mean? Like do I want to start like
that's some sick shit to want to get into, some neurosurgery, bro. Nigga, you was about to be out here saving lives, bro.
Yeah. I just wanted to play with human Legos. That saving lives, I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. And I'm like, how do I make sure this person doesn't die? And I'm like, it's like a challenge. It's
my nigga, like so you so like, damn, how do I ask this question, bro? Like, so how the hell did you even get into the damn underwater welding shit?
Dude, I was taking a master class, and I was taking a rocket science. Master class is like a professional Netflix. It's like going under the hood of people who are like the shit. You know, like we're talking like Samuel L. Jackson, Chris Hudson, DeGrasse Tyson.
People like sell their classes.
And I was taking this rocket science class one time, and he talked about how he was 50 meters underwater, and there was a hull breach. And he said something interesting. It was like, imagine having 7 breaths to respond to a situation.
50 feet underwater?
Yeah.
Okay, and you said what ended up happening to him? Like what happened?
And I'm like, they got a piece of like a piece of like scrap metal, and they ended up welding it to the inside of the ship to like seal the hull breach. Okay. And at that point I realized, I'm like, oh shit, an astronaut had to become an aquanaut, to become an astronaut. So I'm like, he's welding underwater, so like underwater welders, what's that? And then I literally just Googled that.
Right. Wow.
That was exactly how that conversation.
So and that's how you got into that shit.
Yeah, it's something that I feel like, what do I give a shit about? Is this something that I can kind of like feed the play part of my mind and just be like, yo, I'm just having fun. Like I'm underwater. If Mother Nature is crushing me on every cubic feet of my body, if something goes wrong, then I like freaking out is not an option. Listen, and that intensity kind of.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you're claustrophobic, I know that would be the worst thing. Yeah. Like that and like mining. Yeah. If you don't like mining, if you're claustrophobic, don't mine. Yeah. And don't fucking scuba dive. All right. Yeah. Because you going scuba diving so where are you going scuba diving at? Like where are you doing this shit at? Like so murky ass water, right?
All murky ass water. I mean, like you're like, hey, go like imagine like Verizon saying, hey, we need you to go fix this fiber wire, or hey, we need like to like pile drive, because I just joined a pile drive. We need to like install this bridge that will be used, and like we need to do maintenance on it. So we need some like commercial divers, underwater welders, people with that experience to come on and get it, and they have to be both proficient. Think of like engineering and construction both on land and underwater. It's still like it's simultaneous, right? And so like right now, if there was a cruise ship that capsized at sea, like I'm potentially one of the people that would go out there. And I'm like, all right, hey, this is a job.
Tough, bro.
This is a job.
That's
like search and rescue, all that shit. I'm like, hey, like obviously once you reach a certain level of proficiency, you know what I mean? But was at that point I'm realizing, oh shit, this is sick.
So like how many times? Do you know how many times you've dived before?
So like a diving record?
Probably a couple dozen times.
A couple dozen times, bro. And you talking about these like official jobs, or are you saying plus your training?
Yeah, both. Kind of both. And
a couple dozen times. So
more
or less, like less than 50 or more. Around that.
Yeah, over 50.
Over 50, bro. That's
no, wait. Yeah, less than 50.
Less than 50. Like, but close.
Yeah.
Sheesh, bro. Like, I just feel like that's some shit I wanted to get into, bro. So, like, damn, bro.
I know we talked about it on a different occasion, but I wanted to go more in detail, like how you handle like animals in the water, or like how do you get over that fear?
Animals. I mean, hey, here's hoping you don't fuck with me.
Wow.
Have you ever encountered animals in the water? Like
jellyfish.
What? Jellyfish.
I remember looking at some joint, and I remember like I felt like shit. I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I just keep feeling like sharp pains around my body one day. It was like a couple weeks later, I was like, is that a fucking like floating trash bag in the water? Like, what is that? And then I'm like, I see more of them. I'm like, those are jellyfish.
Wait, so you seen them again another day?
Yeah.
So like when you were going there often to work type shit?
Yeah.
So it was a work site.
And it was like we were working in the fucking catacombs, dog. It was like 10 hours, 8 to 12 hours
underwater,
like not necessarily underwater, but like you're at the surface of the water. And since you're on the surface, you're still submerged. Your body's still in there. So like that's even like, imagine doing construction, but like you're doing it while swimming.
Yeah, I bet that's because you have to be like close to the surface, so the water's rough still.
Trash, bro.
And this is murky ass water.
It was like just diving in Baltimore like river waters.
That's all that was.
Oh my god! I was like, there were some days when I'm like, I remember just like coming home and feeling sick, and I'm like, I think I'm getting fucking dysentery.
Fucking with that water, right?
Yeah,
so like when you're diving, like you have a suit on, right?
Yeah, like
so you're completely, so the water never actually touch your skin, right?
I mean, with a wetsuit, you're gonna get wet. That's why it's called a wetsuit. With a dry suit, no. But I mean, you want to have with the dry suit. I mean, if you're diving at a certain depth, you have to have with a dry suit. You would definitely want to have like some air coming into it to kind of like balance your buoyancy up, because like that joint starts crushing you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that joint starts crushing. Like you come out the water. Yeah, when you come out the water and like, yo, like my suit like bruised my skin up, and you're only at like 70 feet. You're like, damn. Like, imagine this shit at fucking like 150.
And you never had to go that deep before?
Oh, so I've dived down to about like 60 feet. 60 feet. I tried to go down a little bit deeper.
So like when you got that deep, like you felt that shit, didn't you? Like,
oh yeah, the fucking temperature. I mean, the thing that really gets you first is that you literally the first color to go is red.
Right. So
like your eye, your eyes can like stop registering the color red at a certain depth. And I'm like,
wow.
And you're just talking about off the pressure.
Yeah. Wow. Like off the pressure, both just like how much light is not penetrating. It's like, imagine like the rainbow, and that first color goes red.
Right. I get you.
Yeah.
Because red don't even penetrate that deep down there. Like the light, like, damn, that shit sounds scary, bro. Like, that shit sounds tough though. Like I said though, I seen a little ad about it for Baltimore and shit, and I was like, man, I would fucking do that shit, bro. Like, but that shit, I don't know. It depends, bro. It depends. So like, what's the? I remember you was talking about the pay and shit. Like, what's the most you ever got an hour for that shit?
The most I ever got an hour, like 44.
$44 an hour.
I was on one job that I had, and it was one of those things.
That's a lot of money, bro.
Yeah, it really was, and it's one of those things where realizing like, okay, know your craft, know your shit, and these opportunities you can start being bougie with the shit almost.
Right.
You can be there and be like, hey, I ain't leaving my fucking house unless it's like this amount of money, or nah, I'll request not to do that joint,
For sure. You making $44 an hour. Don't judges make that type of bread, bro? I
mean, with the job I have now, it's still something more of a like program that you work up towards, you know what I mean? And genuinely I just believe like is this it's something that I can almost feel like, oh, fun, I'm going to work today. Like, oh yeah, I'm about to go do sweet. Like I'm about to go do that shit. Like I have like almost like a giddiness about it, and I'm like, yo, that's genuine. Like that's better than feeling like dread. You know what I mean? You're like, fuck, I gotta work.
Yeah.
It's better.
That is deep. Now, do you think you selected that job because, again, like, you know, I go always try to find root causes. So I always go back to like the urges that you were feeling, like you going into these careers that are, you know, risky. You doing risky things that, you know, a lot of people will not do. You know, do you feel that is that just part of, you know, who you are? Do you feel like, you know, the medication kind of caused that, and where do you feel, you know?
There was a sense of critical thinking that lured me to the job. There's a sense of fuck what happened an hour ago. Fuck what's gonna happen later. You're here. You need to focus. You're 100% here. You are 100% here, and you have a complex mechanical task to do. You are in a hazardous environment. If you take off your helmet or air stops coming towards you, you die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's that sense of, okay, I need to kind of buckle down and like no bullshit. Like come on, Devin. Like inner Devin. Like come on, focus on this shit. And I realized that like a normal like just being in a cubicle kind of wouldn't be my.
For sure.
Like it's like you know it's almost like a way for me to get rid of that like that temptation, that urge to do like wild shit, because that wild shit is like it's demanding like my mental energy. It's physically demanding and mentally demanding. For sure. It's like oh shit, hey, you know how you can't hear sound as good anymore? That means you're like enough too much pressure on your ears, or hey, maybe you're running out of air.
Yeah.
True.
Like if you're not 100% there, that's little things that you're not fucking realizing, and I'm just like, oh shit.
That's some tough ass shit, bro. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. Like, so like you plan on like can you like retire from it?
Yeah. I started fucking with this union, and I realized that, okay, going from the apprentice, the journeyman, the master, the act of getting good at becoming self-sufficient, you know what I mean? Because that's what these guys are teaching me. I'm like, hey, you know, you have tools, you have all of this, go there and do that. This needs to be done, get it done.
Right.
You have your tools. I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Well, then you have something to work on, don't you?
For sure.
And it's that kind of energy where I'm like, I'm showing up here. These guys are literally builders of a nation.
For sure.
Like you have an island. These are the dudes that are building like the hospital. They're building bridges. They're building like just everything. And I started realizing, like, how could this is a value that I could provide to society on a level that I was like, okay, it gets me. It's kind of like a rationalization to get me out of bed in the morning with like a better like.
Bro, listen. You have a clutch ass job, bro. Like the fact that you do that shit, bro. The fact that that's even a step that you got to do to become an astronaut, bro. You're already closer to being an astronaut.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people, bro.
A lot of people.
Then a lot of people, bro. That's some interesting shit right there, bro. Like if they talking $44 an hour, bro, I think I would try that shit, bro. I'm not gonna hold you. I think I would do that shit.
Hey, get an IT. I'm $10 off.
$10 off. Yeah, IT, man. Nah, that shit some bread, bro. But look.